Let's get one thing out in the open. Starting your change initiative with a vision statement is a mistake. I know that goes against everything you've been told about leadership and transformation. Start with a vision, they say. Paint the picture of the future, they say. Inspire people to follow. Sounds great in theory, but in practice, it's one of the fastest ways to lose your people before you even get started. Imagine this: your organization is navigating uncertainty again. New technology, restructuring market shifts, maybe even a crisis of culture. You need people to move, to adapt, to align, to execute with energy. But instead of building momentum, you're greeted with blank stares, passive resistance, or worse, performative compliance. And here's the kicker: you did everything right. You unveiled a polished vision statement. You posted it in the break room, on the SharePoint site, maybe even kicked off the change with a rousing town hall, but nothing stuck. Why? The problem isn't the vision, it's the timing. When people are in survival mode, confused, uncertain, maybe even grieving the loss of what was, you can't sell them a dream. Not yet. You need to meet them where they are, not where you want them to be. And that's where coaching gets it right. Because coaching doesn't start with answers, coaching starts with awareness. Let me tell you about a company, mid-sized health organization going through a post-merger integration. They did everything by the book. The CEO crafted a compelling vision, talked about synergy, one team, unified excellence. But behind closed doors, leaders were overwhelmed. Teams were territorial and trust was really low. They brought me in after 3 failed rollouts, and I didn't ask for the vision statement. I asked them one thing: when you read this statement, where do you feel disconnected from it? There was silence. Then a manager spoke up. It's not that we don't believe in the future, he said. We just don't believe that we'll survive the process of getting there. That's the moment everything shifted. Most leaders assume people resist change because they're stubborn or stuck in their ways, but the truth is more human than that. People resist change when they feel unseen, unheard, and unprepared. A vision statement doesn't fix that, it glosses over it. Because before we talk about where we're going, we need to talk about what we're leaving behind, about the fears, frustration, and friction that haven't been named, let alone addressed. Now, this is where I might lose some of you, but hear me out. Dropping a bold vision statement into a change weary culture is like pouring gasoline on dry soil and wondering why nothing blooms. If you want growth, start with water, start with empathy, start with truth. If you skip the hard conversations, if you skip the messy middle, you build a future that sounds good on paper but collapses in practice. Here's what I do instead. Instead of presenting vision, I create the conditions where vision can emerge. Coaching frameworks like narrative reframing, stakeholder mapping, and emotional readiness assessments allow teams to surface what's really going on. And when you give people the language to describe their current reality, they unlock their own capacity to imagine a better one. I've seen the energy shift in a room, not from a PowerPoint slide, but from a moment of collective recognition. When someone says, "This is what's been bothering me," and another person says, "I feel that too." That's the beginning of change. Not a poster, not a slogan, but a shared truth. And here's the insight that I hope sticks with you: people don't follow vision statements, they follow one another. Change doesn't happen because you announce it, it happens because people believe their role in the future matters. And they only believe that when they feel seen in the present. Let's stop pretending that fancy words and laminated values will save your organization. Culture change doesn't come from the consultant who flies in with a deck and a deadline. It comes from the leaders who are brave enough to say, "We're not going to pretend. We're going to build something real." So, no, I don't start change with a vision statement anymore. I start with questions, with curiosity, with connection, because that's how you earn trust. And trust, not vision, is the real engine of change.